and welcome to another episode of Gotta Get Up. Listen, I don't know how long my hotspot's gonna work, and apparently this hotel does not want to let me on the Wi-Fi, so let's get into it. We've got a lot to talk about on today's episode, but for all of those quote-unquote people who think I'm quote-unquote negative, well, I guess you're gonna get your wish. There are definitely some great things to say about this team, but probably not what you think, because I still feel how I feel. And I feel justified in feeling it. Anyway, let's get into the show. Gotta get up.
Gotta get up.
Gotta get up.
Gotta get up.
Oh yeah.
New York.
Oh yeah.
New York.
Hey, women's basketball fans. Welcome to Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans brought to you by Black Rosie Media. I'm Erica L. Ayala.
And I'm Brian Florenson.
And we're your New York Liberty experts and co-hosts. We've covered the 2024 championship run and followed your favorite players all the way to the Paris Olympics.
Every episode, we bring you game recaps, the latest news and transactions, and exclusive interviews with Liberty players and coaches from the past, present, and future that you won't hear anywhere else.
We're building a community for fans who love this game as much as we do. So whether you're part of the Barclays faithful or tuning in from afar, we bring you closer to your
New York Liberty.
yeah. Welcome back, Leonie Fiebich. Oh, how we have missed you. Leonie Fiebich, one of the leading scorers in this game in a win against the Indiana Fever that I do think was a prove-it game for the New York Liberty. I went on CBS Sports and I said, listen, I was asked, how important is this game for Indiana? And I was like, actually, I think it's more important for New York. Y'all know I am not impressed with what's going on from the coaching perspective. The defense for neither of those teams is great. So, we had to see what was going to go on there. And, it's a team on paper that should be better than where they are. But, it is what it is. But Leonie Fiebich is as advertised. And before we get into this whole thing, see, Erica, it's all about the injuries. No. There's a great interview that Jackie Powell, she was on a podcast. And she was on with Noah Dazzle. And she talked about a metric. I'm going to have to find the metric and put it in our Slack channel and add it to this podcast once we repost after the live stream on Monday. But the New York Liberty are actually healthier than 2025 per this metric that Jackie Powell talked about. And they are about as healthy as they were in 2024 with their championship run. So, injuries are happening. Poor Toronto absolutely being decimated. Injuries happen. Injuries do play a part. And at some point you cannot injuries are not the reason a team isn't boxing out. Injuries aren't the reason a team is turning the ball over. So those are things that any of your players should be able to do. And I've had difficulty with this team at stretches. And then returns Leonie Fiebich. She returned for the first time since July 3rd, has been nursing a foot injury for several months, and is finally back in action. She talked about the last week was really difficult just because she was chomping at the bit to get back into the rotation, back into games. And Leonie Fiebich had in her debut off of injured reserve 20 points, a +7, shot 70% from the floor, 60% from the arc, and 75% from the free throw line. She also had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, 4 fouls, 2 turnovers. But overall, a solid game, exactly what we expected from Leonie Fiebich. The leading scorer was, do I have to say it? I'm going to say it, but do I have to say it? Of course it was Brianna Stewart, had 22 points. Stewie, what more can I say? I just think she's been a phenomenal player for this team and a leader. It was after one of the Indiana Fever games that she got the team together and was kind of like, what's going on here? She's also pointed out some things that the team is having to do on the fly instead of having those things set up at the beginning of the season. So the improvements that you're seeing, I equate very acutely to Brianna Stewart stepping up and not just being a lead by example leader, but someone who is able to communicate and talk through things. So you'll love to see that there. But listen, Leo is my MVP. Leo is such a phenomenal player, and she's also, oh gosh, is it just the German way? I haven't been around a lot of Germans, I don't think, in my life, even though my dad, I think he liked German culture, which makes a lot of sense looking back at it now. But anyway, just kind of straight to the point. But Leonie Fiebich coming in and being someone who you can rely on defensively, huge for the New York Liberty. Absolutely massive, especially playing a team like Indiana. So, listen, maybe they got their mojo back. I think it's still to be determined, to be honest. Leonie Fiebich is a great player. She talked about coming in and being able to impact the game in the way she knows how, making open shots, reading the defense. She talked about she got a little fired up, which we don't always see from Leonie Fiebich, and just saying, hey, it kind of poured out of her. And, she did make a difference, Damien, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know about Satu. Satu is a whole nother story, and honestly, I don't really know that it's smart for her, or mostly for her, to even push it. I am just assuming that she's done for the season, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that for non-basketball reasons, and honestly, I don't really, I want her to do what's best for her, because unfortunately, this has been a long slog with injury. Unfortunately, she will not be competing for Team Germany. Leonie Fiebich will be with the FIBA World Cup, although we don't officially have the roster for Team Germany. But let's bring in Brian Florentin and get his thoughts. So you're in the house for this game. Leonie Fiebich, back on the court.
Yeah, the impolite way to describe Leo's return is Leo changed their broke lives. But on a serious note, she plugs in everything about this group, and everything makes sense with her back. It's you need a player who can post up, another player who can post up, who can get their own offense on the wing. Leo can do that. You need someone who can cash in those catch and shoot 3 pointers off Sabrina and Pauline drives. Leo could do that. She hit a bunch. When you're thinking of second quarter rotations, which has been a bugaboo for the fan base in the past couple of weeks, when it's just JJ and the bench and leads dip and deficits balloon, having Leo on the court erases that. Having someone on the court late who can defend elite players like a Caitlin Clark and a Kelsey Mitchell, Leo can do that. If you want to Chris talked with it a little bit, getting more length with Leo and Beck Allen. Coming into Saturday's game, they've only had 8 minutes on the court together all season. Now we're going to get an opportunity to see how those two pair as a dynamic duo. We'll see how the rest of the lineups work from there. Having someone who is unafraid of pressure, and especially in home games when Barclays Center gets nervous, which it almost did when Indiana tied the game up late. Leo can ease that problem, prevents it from collapsing even further and stress mounting in the building. So everything with Leo's return just makes the group make sense. And I think they still have work to do, but I feel like if Leo's back and if she's no minutes restriction at that either. If she's able to play a large workload and not have any sort of dip in her play and performance, I feel like it gives the group a ceiling that we theoretically would have saw coming into the year. But now, if everyone's going to be healthy enough, and I'll include JJ on the healthy bit as well too, since she got dinged up last week Tuesday. If everyone's healthy, I think we get to see what a possible vision looks like at full capacity.
It's interesting. I will say I don't agree with you when it comes to, first of all, her workload. If you need Stewie and Leo to put up so many minutes, especially defensively, to me that means there's not enough defensive power on the team. And that's not really, I don't know that I need to explain that. We have seen that play out this season, last season, season before that. When you remove Stewart and Leo and, Bonaj Lady Hamilton apparently could not find any minutes on this team. There's not enough defensive intensity. And that's not going to be enough in today's WNBA. So that's one thing. The second thing is, with regard to, you know, kind of figuring out what this team is and erasing some of the doubts. I loved this game, and it wasn't enough for me to be like, all right, chips all back on the table, all in. No, it wasn't. Indiana still scored over 100. There was slippage again. And I think it's interesting, Fabian talking about the intensity from Leo. I agree with this. And, you shouldn't need one player to have to turn and crank things up. That's what Stewart is a leader in a lot of different ways. And she's not necessarily like a rah-rah cheerleader type person. She's not a person that's gonna, kind of scream and pump her fists and flex. There's not really anyone, I think, on the New York Liberty that does that consistently. And if that's what they need, then this team has to go and get someone like that, because it's not coming from the bench, as far as the coaching staff, or not enough of it. And you have leaders who are going to lead by example. But if you're watching Stewie or Leo do everything, you're watching Sabrina, make a bunch of shots, and that's not enough motivation, y'all got to figure that out. So I think we'll take the win for me.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of room to grow. I feel the next step is when they're playing against championship contending teams. When you do the work of building a double-digit lead to start the fourth, I'd love to see, similar to when they beat Minnesota in July, in late June, early July, you keep the lead there instead of allowing Indiana to get back in. That's not to take away from Indiana. If everything holds now, they would have by the numbers the best offensive league history by offensive rating. So keeping them to 102 is, you wish you were better, but still compared to what they do normally these days, impressive in its own right. Like an 8
I
out of 10
mean,
on the
102
scale.
is about where they're at. I don't think they kept, like, you see what I mean? Like, that they didn't keep them to anything. Like, Indiana did what they always do.
Yeah, I feel like they had them, especially, I would say this might be more a failing of Indiana in execution, because they shot a season low 50% from the free throw line, which is usually self-inflicted when it comes to free throw misses in that regard. But I will say, after Mitchell hit the three to tie, she didn't get another shot attempt. Some of that is on Indiana, but I think some of that is also, if I wanted to give a little bit of credit going the other way, I think it's just New York really playing good defense. Like the possession that Boston had, I think it was 101 to 100. JJ's defending her in the post, locks up, Blake gives like a wall, Stu comes to help, gets the board, and then they convert the other way. So I feel like even when things got tight, the execution, once it got even back up at 100, was really solid. And I think for the group, that's the one I'm looking to see. Okay, I want to see you replicate that on Thursday against Golden State. And then when we come back, not we, because they don't pay me, when they come back from the break, I want to see if they can replicate that and expand on it a little bit more. But I think as far as like building a new foundation and almost like a soft reset in certain respects, I thought Saturday was a success.
Okay. I mean, we'll see. I guess I'm with Damien. Like, it's to be determined for me. Golden State takes on a whole different. It's an entirely different challenge. Is this a New York Liberty team that can match their intensity defensively? Eye test and statistically speaking, no. Can they shoot the lights out of the ball and try to do what Indiana does, and then it doesn't quote unquote matter what they do defensively? In theory, they could, but they haven't always done that either. So it's going to be interesting to see. Cherie saying the Liberty needs at least two starters on the floor at all times, unfortunately, and emphasis on the at least part. I think you're right. I think it is unfortunate, because then those players are putting up more minutes than they need to, because we've seen this New York Liberty team lose leads. And that's, that happens when you get players rest. Going with lineups that, it'll be a close game, a one or two possession game, and, you know, you're going with a lineup that's never played together at the end of August. I mean, it's a choice, but I think that can this Liberty team find ways to win is really the question. In theory, yes. Is there enough sandpaper for me? Absolutely not. With this squad, not yet. Does Leo help that? For sure. 100% for sure. But, you still, for Indiana, Boston 22 points, Mitchell 25, Clark 20, and even Cunningham had 10 points. So, having to get stops, you have to be able to get stops on at least one opponent, or one player on the opposing team. And I'd like to see the New York Liberty really focus on that defensively. Like, who are we going to deny in this game? And everyone's on the same page with that. I think that that's actually the game plan that you're going to need against a team like Golden State, because I think their lack of offense is over exaggerated. And if you want to talk about bench points, they lead the league in bench points. They have nearly 40. It might actually be up there now. They have almost 40, and by almost I mean like 36, not like 32. They have almost 40 points per game that come from their bench, which is wild to me on so many levels. No other team breaks 30 last time I checked. So that's going to be huge. Sharice saying, we're going to see if this team can keep the defense intensity against Golden State on Thursday. We haven't beaten them this season so far, and that's a huge test. And that goes back to Brian, what you were saying. So, yeah, I think it's huge. But, let's go back to Leo a little bit, because, I was talking before you hopped on, Brian, that she, in her very Leo way, she didn't want to harp on too much being without the team or the emotions. She was just like, I'm happy to be here and help the team. But what did you see as far as what were the main things that were different with Leonie Fiebich back in the lineup?
I think having Leo back, I feel like you immediately saw when they did break out zone at points, it felt a lot more cohesive compared to what it had been in July, and even at the top of August, it felt like everyone was in their gaps a little bit more. You saw the wingspans of Stu and Leo really come into play. The backside help was really on point. So I think Leo might have mentioned also that they were over communicating, which is a good thing on the defensive side. I think she might have mentioned that in scrum too, from what I remember. So it felt like the level of communication is back to where it needed to be, and it had been getting better. But I always think when you go up against an elite offense, I want to see what it looks like, and an elite offense that wanted that game, that circled the game on the counter, that they wanted and mattered for seeding and tiebreaker purposes. So it was a huge outing, regardless of if Leo was there or not, or anything else that circled the game. It was a huge for like the on court aspect of it. So it was circled for both teams, and Indiana gave them their best foot forward. And I like that New York, the communication was really solid on the defensive end. I thought they were really good. I thought that on the offensive side, Pauline's drives were really solid. Leo was shouting her out as far as what she can do. Leo, someone who can finish in traffic. She's a very deft cutter. She's able to, she moves well off the ball. She does a lot of things that they say all the time. It's not in the box score, but it is kind of true for Leia, where it's like really timely cuts don't really hit in the box score. It may in certain tracking numbers, but that's not publicly available for people. So hard to cite that when you don't have like real visibility on it for people. But just watching her cut off the ball, just watching her be on time where she needed to be, and down the stretch with Clark in that possession where it was 103, yes, it was 103, 100. She still gets the initial assignment. Indy tries to use AB as a screener to draw a switch so she can get downhill. Leo picks it up, no extra help, uses her positioning, uses her length, uses her timing to force a heavily contested floating mid-ranger going against the grade arc. That's great defense. And it's really sort of timely using the court, using your positioning, using your knowledge, and using Leo mentioned herself too. Like she studies a lot, so knowing players, knowing tendencies, and knowing really what they like to do, what they don't like to do, where they like to kind of like get their shots on the court as a defender matters a lot because it's almost like a cat and mouse game where they want to get to their spot, but you want to get there first. If you can throw them off even like one percentage, that could be enough. And especially in a late game where it's tight, everyone's working really hard, so fatigue gets up a little bit, and you are able to keep up. You're able to maintain your strength and durability and excellence throughout the board. I thought that was really impressive, and it was really sort of smart defense on her part. And even if Clark had gotten by, I believe JJ might have been waiting at the rim too. So using your teammates for extra help as you need to, floating towards the baseline as well. Everything about Leo's game I thought was an A plus, and I feel with her back, it also slides everyone down a spot in certain respects. Chris was mentioning that with Leo here, he can sit Stewie a little bit more. So if it's a JJ bench lineup, it's not bench player number 4, it's Leo alongside JJ, and everyone else gets amplified, whether it be a Beck G, a Beck A, MJ. Their skills get amplified with Leo on the court because Leo does check so many different boxes. And because she's such a low usage kind of player where it's not, hey, I got to get you the ball these possessions because you haven't had a scratch in a couple minutes kind of thing. Because Leo is so low maintenance in that regard, you can trust her to really do a lot of the heavy lifting on defense, and then using sort of as an example in the second quarter, using JJ's downhill gravity and the force that she brings and attention that she requires in the painted area, you can use that to leverage better opportunities for Leo when she's in the corner. You're getting Marine coming off screens. You're able to unlock and tap into a lot of different buttons with Leo on the court. And I feel that versatility allows for greater comfort and less stress for the big dogs in the team.
Yeah, we'll see. I like this comment from Charisse. Allen showed out versus Indy. First of all, Rebecca Allen has been solid, and
Mhm.
I want to just remind everyone that I told y'all that this team, there is a version of Rebecca Allen that this team absolutely needs. And we're seeing it. And I made a face earlier because you talked about, oh, we've only seen, I think you said 8 minutes, right, of
Yeah.
Leonie Fiebich and Rebecca Allen together. Well, before Leo got hurt, Rebecca Allen, and when she was coming out of her reconditioning, Rebecca Allen was a DNP at times where I thought she could have been inserted. And so I'm glad that she's getting this run now. I don't know why it took so long. I think a lot of Liberty fans and women's basketball fans owe Rebecca Allen an apology. And I just want to go on the record by saying, I told y'all. I told y'all. Listen, I think that I understand some of the critiques. I think they go too far. I mean, Rebecca Allen has the Cam Brink thing where sometimes her timing and her jumpiness works against her, and it can lead to fouls. It leads to her kind of jumping into body at times. And you take that. But then there are times where she's helping be a rim protector who's not Jonquel Jones, who's not Brianna Stewart. And without Leonie Fiebich, I think that, I love what Rebecca Allen has been able to do. Kamal saying Stewart, Jones, Fiebich, Allen, and Ionescu should be the fourth quarter closing lineup in the playoffs. Let's see. We'll see. Z Diddy saying, don't forget Astier, the speedy guard, picks up the point guard full court, which runs down 24 seconds on the clock. Huge advantage for our defense. I do think Astier is great defensively. I don't think, that's some of the versatility that perhaps you bring in. But the reason that hopefully it will work better is because you're better defensively. You have more defensive options. And, again, this lineup we could have seen experimented with early, more not thinking, putting the Leo injury aside, it was really the Allen DNPs at times that were a little bit of a head scratcher for me. But I want to switch gears here, and we're gonna have to keep the show tight, Brian. I was saying, I don't know, the internet won't let me be great. That's been the theme of the week, unfortunately. Yeah, and already we are freaking low, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I cannot get on the hotel Wi-Fi, and I don't know how long my hotspots are gonna last. So we'll see what happens here. But there was, and I really don't want to talk about this from the player that shall not be named. Actually had 10 points, good for her. But there was a difference of opinion outside of Barclays Center when it came to the rallies. And I just wanted to talk to you about what you saw in Barclays Center with regard to this ongoing conversation about trans athletes and how it has been a through line and a conversation in the WNBA.
Sure. So I got there maybe like a little bit before 5 o'clock or so. So I wound up missing Chris's pregame because I wanted to kind of stay outside and see what was happening. So when I was out there from about like 5:20, 5:30 or so, it was a group of people who were supporting transgender people, transgender rights, and just support for trans folks in general. And it was run in part by the Transgender Law Center. I was able to talk to a couple people, nothing that I was reporting on, but just sort of like vibing and getting conversation. And one of the things that we were talking about is we were talking, a lot of the discussion has been sort of, oh, there's no trans people competing in sports. Like, why does it care? But then I was thinking at the same time, it's like trans people should have the right to be able to access and take part in sport because they are members of society. They should be able to live freely without fear of being terrorized, stigmatized, and used as bait for people who have really nefarious ideas, people who are just bigoted, people who are mean, people who are just like people. And also I want to say also people who I think know better but allow and give room for clear bad faith, as we saw on Sunday night in Chicago when insert gentleman here was out there. You knew that he was there for bad faith purposes, and the entire conversation that has been spread in part by that player and insert player here on Indiana, I felt has been tremendously bad. It's very much you're looking to who haven't done everything to earn that to begin with, and you're using them as a pawn to just sort of like attack trans rights and trans individuals. And I've seen Brianna Turner make the point that a lot of the folks who are really trying to quote protect women's sports are doing it under a guise of protecting women when their goal ultimately is to villainize, demonize, and perhaps eliminate Title IX and women's sport across the board in the United States. And if they had their way beyond. And I think it's really, and I think also it's important, and why I really appreciated the first rally I went to. And also I love her props, and they were giving out shirts, and I am a shirt man. Really nice shirt, good shirt. I haven't worn it yet, but good, comfortable shirt. I would say it's really important because I wrote it in the newsletter. You don't leave people behind. You don't leave people behind when you see people being targeted and stigmatized and villainized. You don't leave. You're like, oh, let them have it. Like, let the others, let the villains have it. No, you don't do that. You say, hey, this ain't it. This ain't the space for that. Get the hell on. Like that negative energy and that toxicity and that dangerousness you're bringing to this space. It is not okay. It's not acceptable. I don't want it. And I think as a league, because I've seen, I might veer off topic, and Erica, steer me if I'm going too far.
I mean, I want you to continue this thought, and then I want to get into not as much as feeding the negative part of the beast, but what we saw as the community support, including Stewart.
Okay, yeah. So I think also just briefly to sort of like before I circle back to positive, I saw Steph White make the point that a lot of it is social media stuff, but then my brain at this point is like, no, this stuff is happening in your house. this negativity is coming in your front door, and it's ultimately is running the risk of destroying and damaging the thing that a lot of people, Steph included, because she's played, coached, and analyzed this league. A lot of people's life work is at risk because these evil, bad faith people are looking to demonize and start havoc and trouble and make life hell for players, fans, trans people who are fans of sport and not fan of sport. So I really think it's important to be like, nah, that negativity, that transphobia, all that wickedness, get it out. But I want to bring it back to the positive, like you mentioned. And the community aspect of it was really beautiful. Everyone was really engaged. Everyone was having a good time. They were sharing information. Beautiful, beautiful artwork that I caught. I'm going to be using that in the future. It was really sort of positive. There was like one negative person that came by, but we quickly got him out. It wasn't no thing. But otherwise, it was really, really positive atmosphere outside the arena. A lot of people were coming together, sharing resources, sharing support, really able to, I think, show community and show a lot of our trans friends who have really felt a lot of pressure and stress from what's been happening, not just in the past month due to those comments in ESPN, but also just in the past couple of years and just the demonization they've been receiving. It's in this space, you're welcome, you're safe here. We'll do our best to make you feel welcome and a part of this community because you are important and you are a part of this community. And I thought the atmosphere outside the arena really highlighted that. Inside the arena, I was joking to someone, it felt like a hot crowd in the sense of like, when there's like a big match, a big fight, big game kind of feel. It feels like a tension in the air, but nothing throughout the game that escalated into anything that would make the news, so to speak. It was very much, once the game settled in, it was the competitive sport of it. And I think I want to say like, not I want to see how I say this right. Like once it became the competitive sport of it all, that's when it felt normal. Because leading up to it, it felt like tense, really sort of tense, like a lot of tension in the air. But once the game got going and everything sort of like reverted back to the sport and the fun of it all, that's when the game felt like really relaxed and everyone could sort of like be without the stress of all the negative clouds that have been brought into the league and into the space for all of us here. That cloud sort of dissipated a little bit, and I thought that part, credit to the fans from New York, the Indiana fans, all those people, like they created a fun sports atmosphere once the game got started. And I feel like that part matters a lot going forward because the next week or so, it'll be headlines because of that goof in Chicago. So now when the sport becomes the focus, that's where everything is like, okay, I feel welcome. It feels good. Thank you, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was showing you all my email again. Didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I think it's unfortunate that people are taking this opportunity to really make it about them when this should be about basketball. But shout out to PBS News who reported on Stewie's comments. Well, this is technically by the AP, but Breanna Stewart wants WNBA arenas to be a safe space as transgender debate sparks rallies at games. This is what Stewart had to say. Knowing that rallies are happening on both sides shows the platform the W has, and the stunts for attention are just continuing to try and ride the wave that we have. I want Liberty fans and even Indy fans that are going to come here tonight to be able to have this arena be a safe space. I think that it's just a interesting time right now for the WNBA. I think people trying to co-opt what has been a successful league despite almost a full 30 years and a full 30 seasons of people telling us that this product isn't successful. And we've always known that's cap, as the young people say. And I remember several seasons ago now at the Final Four, Dawn Staley is one of many people who, in her own way and in her own words, has talked about women's basketball being arbitrarily kind of suppressed and pushed asunder. And there's a lot of data that shows. I mean, I've talked about data I've pulled before where if you look at, this was a few years ago, so I haven't pulled it in a while, but Caitlin Clark's senior year at Iowa, she had if you looked at the top 10 highest viewed TV viewership women's basketball games, if I'm not mistaken, Caitlin Clark at the time had been involved in five or six of them. Kim Mulkey, either as a coach or player, had been in 3 or 4 of them. But the player that had the most consistent representation outside of Caitlin Clark, would you venture to guess who it was?
I'm gonna guess Cheryl Miller.
Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
Nailed it. And Cheryl Miller played in the time where, if you listen to certain pundits, women's basketball nobody cared about. But that's actually not true. Even if you go back to the AIAW days, and if we included the AIAW, because I was only looking at NCAA, but there is notoriously, and I think it was Old Dominion and my history is not coming to mind now. It's been a week, y'all. I'm getting through it though, and I'm grateful. So anyway, was it Old Dominion? And who else? Anyway, there was a women's basketball game at Madison Square Garden in the late 70s, I believe, that would be on par with some of the highest numbers. And it was like an exhibition game. It would be on par with some of the highest attendance and viewership numbers that we've seen. And it's just wild to me that, we associate, not the collective we, there's a specific narrative that's being spun, and it's just not, it's easy to show that this is certainly an outlier in some ways. We can't deny that. And it's also, if anything, just showing the conversation isn't that it's necessarily the greatest ever, because also it's like, anyway, there's a lot of things to talk about there. But what we're finally seeing is consistency. Now, that being said, and I used to debate with someone who would say, well, more is more. And my conversation was always, more is not always more for everyone, especially when it's women and there is a hierarchy. And Black women always end up being at the back of the line, even when they were the ones at the front lines to get movement started. This is in every factor of society. At every generation, in every country in the world, this is there. You can find examples of this. So that's how saturated, consciously and subconsciously, our world revolves around, quite frankly, racism, white supremacy, imperialism, and all of those things that do not uplift Black women. And the WNBA is the antithesis of that.
Yeah, and one thing I think a lot when it comes to the story of WNBA, I'll say women's basketball, it's a story. A lot of the Erica we've talked about it before. The men sort of downturn. It wasn't because of the players or the talent that they had. It was because the leading broadcast partner for the league decided to stop investing in them. Like, they went from the main channel to the sub-channel of a sub-channel, and it lasted for almost 2 decades. And it took until the 2020s just for the games to get on ABC proper. So you have 20 years of non-investment and players fighting to get something from the television partner, which doubles as the largest television entity on the planet, and you're not getting that support, and try as they might, it never came. So a lot of the sort of like narrative that festered in the 2010s was an offshoot of a choice made by forces that are completely out of the WNBA and the players' purview, as people way above who made the deliberate choice to be like, no, this thing that is on our channel, we're not going to put anywhere that people can really sink their teeth into. So it became almost like a lost generation of sorts, where the video the video availability wasn't there, the highlight packages weren't there, the feature stories, the feature segments on television, broadcasting, all of those things weren't there, and it was a deliberate choice. And throughout the late 2010s, 20 and now to beyond, is everyone's fighting to sort of get back what was lost. And now that they have, it's a situation where now is the moment where, hey, things can really sort of take off. And it's almost like, pay us what you owe us for the years that you hold us, because you hold us in the 2000s. Now in the 2020s, we are your Sunday night anchor. Like your Sunday night programming is a women's sports block, and that is because of the work of the players in this league. Clark, Reese, Becker, whoever, name whoever you want. Their hard work got to that point, and now it's
well, I'm going to pause you there, because it wasn't Clark and Becker's and Reese's hard work. I mean, I'm just going to no, they're benefiting from the hard work of other people. I just see, like, that to me is what pisses me off about how people talk about the WNBA, is that even if you want to argue that there was an uptick as those players came into the league, sure, cool, tight. And, setting up the runway, they weren't, building the plane as they were flying it. That's not what Beckers and Reese and Clark were doing. They were already given a space and a professional league that was already on the come up. The attendance and viewership was already year over year improving several seasons before. Now, and if you want to point to the increase since then, cool, by all means. And let's not act like that this hasn't been happening for several seasons now.
Yeah, and I think something that New York will know intimately well is that in 2018, when the Liberty were shuttled up to Westchester, league attendance dipped, because at that point the Liberty were like 10, 12K in MSG. Now you're 1,500 in Westchester County, and league attendance dipped as a result. And once they got out of Westchester, then once they got out of the COVID season in 2020, you saw attendance trickle up. You saw attendance rise. You saw better venues. You saw these places. You saw Vegas consistently sell out year after year. New York, once they started bubbling up and really getting back to top contention, you saw the numbers gradually rise to now they pull 17,000, and it's not even a thought, because, hey, it's just a regular day, 17,000 plus in the building. Fine, it's cool. Now, then you have other places, Portland sell out every game, Golden State sell out. Now it's a situation where the work of the players in the 2010s and even the CBA before this one, that now pales in comparison to what we have now, but still important in its own way. It's just, it was a building block and helps sort of like lay some more foundation for the recent success of the 2020s, and all the efforts, all the advocacy, all the players who were independently creating media buzz for themselves, getting themselves out there for feature stories, doing all of the legwork that necessarily wasn't met by the league office or television partners as and such. You see now that everyone who really got it and made it happen themselves as players and sort of like personnel, you see the work that they did, and now everyone is starting to get the full benefit of it. So the players who are coming in the next CBA and 20 whatever and beyond, they'll have a lot more stable league to walk into, and one where you're not fighting really for survival. I would say you're fighting for more, I want to expand and grow this out even more.
Yeah, indeed. And so, I mean, this is going to continue. Z Diddy, I would just say, I think it's so interesting that people still think that they're centering protecting women in a transgender argument when that is the least of what is happening. Brian already broke that down. I've talked about that before. It's a disingenuous argument to bring in, well, what about the poor women? I'm sorry, Brian, every WNBA team has a practice squad, right?
Correct.
Who's on the practice squad?
Men.
But men who have never played basketball, right? Clearly.
Basketball men. Basketball men.
Like, but like high school, right?
Nope. These are adults with families, jobs, careers, and such.
But like, I mean, they probably only ever played in high school. Not like these are not like D1 college basketball men.
These are adult men who have played overseas, who have played in G League settings, who have played more professional basketball than the people who are protecting women have in their lives. So that talk from them, that it doesn't rate.
Listen, and we didn't even set that up as a bit. Those are just facts. Like Brian was able to say that off top. One, because he's at practice, and two, because this is a well-known thing. When people talk about, oh, is it not fair? Are there going to be women who say that? Sure, but there are also people who, just are always going to argue. People are always going to argue that something isn't is pushing them out, quote unquote, and that's definitely a way to look at things. And there are times where systemically that is the case, and women they are the population that experiences that across the board. And again, like I just said, statistically speaking, Black women and Latinas, even if we're just talking about the workforce, I mean, my equal pay day as a Black Latina is in November. That's like almost a whole year. Anyway, my point is that there's realness about that, and there are disingenuous arguments about that, and women who are athletes at a high level at some point in their career, whether professionally, collegiately, or even just as part of their training to be an elite level athlete, have competed against men. And you know what? Men who are doing the same thing are likely competing with and against women. You know why? Because game recognized game. Iron sharpens iron. These are things that are already happening in sport. Like, it's just wild to me that everything is, quote unquote, from the gaze, G-A-Z-E, of having to protect women from things that they're not asking to be protected against. You know what women are being asked to protect against? Pedophilia, toxic work culture, rape culture. We are being asked to not have medical, what is I'm trying to say? Protocol for women be made solely by men, or even designed by the genetic makeup of a male body. How does that make sense? Where women are asking that we be provided the same support to, I don't know, just like live our regular lives as men get in the funding of things like Viagra, among other things. Like, that's what women are actually asking for. So if you really want to protect women, like, that's not even an exhaustive list. That's not even it. That's just off of the top of my head. If you really want to protect women, maybe start there and not in co-ed sports.
Yeah.
And like, some people can't even get down with co-ed, let alone transgender, which is a whole different argument. Athletes compete against athletes. If you make it to a certain level, you're competing against other athletes of all ages, of all skill type, because, again, you're there to play basketball. And not to mention what I believe is the obvious, I don't really know that the conversation is even at a co-ed league at this point. Could it be? Sure. And I'd be down for that conversation if it happens. And I also think, again, there are reasons why there's only women's leagues, because you know what? We will love to talk about men coming to women's spaces, but women aren't invited to men's spaces. Just another example. I worked in the restaurant industry for a number of years. All this time, my whole life, I've been told to get to the kitchen. And when I show up to the kitchen, that's going to pay me? Who's running it? Men. So what is it? Am I supposed to make you a sandwich, or are you going to make it and get paid for it and then have me clean up the crumbs? Because that's kind of what it feels like. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
A couple of thoughts. I want to see if I can sort of like circle all together. I think to the point that you're making, something I was thinking about as you're talking is that for a lot of like women reporters, women analysts, women writers, it was a fight just to even get access to do your job properly. I think a lot of the story of Lisa Olson, I remember reading her in the Daily News in the 2000s, but I think it was in the mid to late 80s, she had to fight to get access to the locker room so she could do her job, because the Boston men were really especially toxic. They were really awful, just general terribleness. It's a long story that I'm not remembering in full, but if you look it up online, you'll get a full backstory on it and all the trouble and fight she had to get to just to sort of do her job. So I think for a lot of the men who are really on the, you need to keep the women, this and this, and it's like, you guys, okay, they're perfect, great lineup there. And I think for a lot of those guys, those talks really ring hollow, because they would, if we were transported to that time, they would be the ones who are making life hell on women who are trying to do the job and cover the job in the way that is best for themselves and their readers and people who want to be informed about what the sports team is doing. So I always sort of like blanch when I see those guys bring those arguments together. Another thing I'm thinking about also, Erica, you mentioned just like the game recognized game. Like the thing about the WNBA and NBA players, like they're officially colleagues because they all work for NBA Enterprises. So those are your friends and coworkers in a manner of speaking. And you, as someone about redacted, you are someone who is a part of that basketball fraternity. And this is how you choose to treat members of your basketball family. It's really gross and disgusting when you think of it that way. You are someone who has been who knows the grind of being a professional basketball player in this league in North America, traveling nonstop, no sleep, no rest, no sleep days. You know that grind and that struggle intimately. And now you're making a mockery of people who have done nothing to you, people who are in your basketball family. This is how you choose to operate, and all for what? Some podunk administration in DC who gives a fuck about them. You're disrespecting and you're disgracing your basketball family by doing this. And it's so insulting and it's so demeaning to act as if you're advocating for a cause when that's not your get down. It never has been, never will be. And we've seen you on TV act the donkey and really act up and be this way. And it's like, that's not anything. That's not how you move. That's not how you should operate. So I found that part of it to be really gross as well too. And I guess the last thing I'm thinking as well, I feel for the people who are sort of targeting trans women and trans folks in general, it always becomes, oh, we'll leave then. And then it always, the exclusion list always grows. It's, oh, this woman who presents this way, they can't be here. This other person who's this way, they can't be here. This Black person, you can't be here. It always seems like a small little thing. That's why you nip stuff in the bud early, because it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows, and the exclusion box grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and ultimately it'll ultimately end up at the point where it's only this demographic who is allowed access to a space, whether it be healthcare, whether it be sporting events, whether it be housing, whether it be anything that allows a person to live as a full person. Those things will be taken away if you allow bigotry and biases to spread under helping people. Once you open that door, it's almost impossible to close. So it's why.
No, it's not. No, it's not. People need to call other people out on bullshit.
Yeah, something. Yeah, in the sense of if you let it fester and if you don't nip it in the bud early, you wind up having it get sort of like metasized and continue to grow and spread to a point where now everything and every sort of marginalized minority group is completely excised from being able to participate in society, and only one certain group is allowed to be there. So I think it's important for everyone to be able to, once you see it happening, you get at it immediately. You make it known that, hey, this ain't gonna fly. Take that elsewhere. That's not welcome. And you should feel embarrassed and ashamed for operating in that way. I feel as a collective, if we start to do that, or at least make real inroads in trying to do that, we can help minimize a lot of the damage that has been wrought. But getting that from people is really hard.
And that's why we are where we are politically in 2026. Anyway, Let Them Wear Towels. I mention this documentary all the time. I absolutely loved the 9 for 9 series that ESPN did for one of the anniversaries. I can't do math that fast. One of the anniversaries of Title IX. I guess it would have been the 40th because it was 70, 80, 90. Oh, shit. I did kind of do some fast math. I'm pretty sure it was the 40th anniversary because I think it was 70, 73. Anyway.
I think
Something like that. Somewhere between 40 and 50. The anniversary for Title IX, they did a 9 for 9 series. So 9 as in the numeral for the Roman numeral 9 as in Title IX. Let Them Wear Towels is a phenomenal documentary talking about what you mentioned a little bit here. I was going back and forth and there were like random pop-ups showing up, but I was trying to get the full list of women who were interviewed and a part of the the documentary, but I couldn't pull it up with enough time. Anyway, Let Them Wear Towels, highly recommend it for all of those things. Also, yes, Annie Myers did try out for the Pacers. I believe Nancy Lieberman has also competed in men's sports, as in I don't want to say men's sports, men's leagues. Okay, men's leagues. Basketball is not, it is genderless. Anyone can play basketball, but men's leagues. Also, with all due respect to whoever it was, men and women already compete professionally and at the Olympic level together. It's called co-ed. Tennis is one of the most lucrative and long-lasting sports, not just in the United States, but across the world. And you know what they do? They have mixed doubles. And mixed means men and women playing on the court together, Brian. Oh my God. Oh.
I think
Clutching my pearls. What? How dare they? It's wild to me. Like, apparently men and women are supposed to make babies together, but that's it. You can't do anything else. Y'all don't even like each other outside of getting it in. That's wild to me. That is so wild to me. And speaks to other things that we don't have time to get into on today's podcast because I will never stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Because that is, Louisa Harris, Tony Stone in baseball. I mean, I literally could go on and on and on and on. That's why, as it's one of my favorite lines from my cousin Vinny, that's why these arguments don't hold water. They've never held any logic or sense. They're not historically accurate. There's no accuracy to this except for people showing their whole ass. For what reasons other than control and otherness? Because these arguments don't hold water. Time and time again, we've seen that they don't hold water. They don't hold water. And yet here we are. But again, we're going to keep it moving because you know what? We're going to talk about the French Connection here. The French Connection. Now, listen, Team France has made an announcement that is not their roster, Brian. They made an announcement that 8 WNBA players are going to be joining the French national team in what is this extended camp for them. And I believe they are going to be in Italy and competing against Italy in just like a little tune-up before the FIBA World Cup. They announced 8, which included Marine Johannes, Pauline Astier, of course Dominique Malunga, but who was missing, at least in this designation, was Marine Fatouks, who, if I'm not mistaken, might actually already be with the national team at camp, because has she left? I know it was up in the air, but according to this article that was translated, because I do not read or speak French, so I want to offer that caveat, I believe that the article said, per my translation and summary, that Fatouks, although she wasn't listed as the 8 different WNBA players who are going to be joining the team, either the 29th or the 30th for most of them. I think maybe a few on the 31st. I'm going to pull up the list in a minute. I found that interesting, and I think the article was saying that she was already with the French national team, and that was something, at least in Liberty camp, was still up in the air. I feel like earlier in the season it was almost pretty much a foregone conclusion, and then as we started getting deeper, and especially when she signed that multi-year contract, it seemed like her timeline was a little more up in the air.
Yeah. As I understand, I think still market, because I know she was listed, like, usually when a player is out, they'll have the out not with team designation, but I didn't see that for Marine Fatouks. I believe she was on the bench Saturday as well too. So as I understand that, she's still in market, and usually when players leave out, we'll get the press email, like when for Connecticut Sun fans, when Layla Lacan was announced as joining the French team, the Sun let us know immediately that she was called by the French national team and she was leaving market to go join them for World Cup preparation. We haven't gotten that from Marina Fatouk, so it's still up in the air. Jojo was talking to us on Saturday, and she mentioned that they still haven't sort of like given the full designation as like what the camps will look like. She kind of that is mirror how the United States does it, where it's, oh hey, we'll have a quick camp, we'll practice it, then whoever's here, we ride. So it's unique in that regard, and it's very curious, especially for someone who isn't as well versed in the French federations and what their sort of process is like as compared to USA basketball. So it's been curious and interesting to watch from afar, but somewhat close, considering the French players who are in market. So they still it's still up in the air. Once they give out once the full final rosters are set, then we'll have a feel for what it will look like. And then the next question is going to be minutes allocation, how the players will look coming out of camp, the matchups that they have, what a successful tournament run will look like for them. So it'll be interesting to sort of watch how what we expect to be a medal favorite in 2028, how they look in this setting, especially after a disappointing World Cup run for France in 2022. They'll have a lot to prove this time. Oh, Erica, muted.
Haha, thank you. I've got this microphone, but not using it now because I need the extra plug. Anyway, sorry. What I was saying is, and if you want more information, this is a live shot of our field guide. So if you subscribe to the Women's Basketball Roundup at the premium level, you have access to this already. And I updated, as I was traveling today, have already updated the rosters here. You can see that we have the rosters as they're confirmed, people who were cut from the dwindling of the rosters. Some teams, like Germany, has not officially given us their roster, so that's why that's empty. But for Team France, you can see that we made the addition here from the news that 8 WNBA players will be joining up with the team. You can also go back to that World Cup history that Brian was just talking about, but I can't show you all the goods. You have to subscribe to the newsletter to check it all out, and we're super excited.
Give them a little tease, just to be like, whoop, subscribe.
Absolutely, and we update this also for our free subscribers in a PDF version. So every the newsletter that follows an update to our premium sub Excel sheet, which is a live sheet, so you get that in real time. We then just update our PDF version. So either way, as a subscriber to the newsletter, you will have access to this, and you can keep up with because it has the schedule. So there's a little place where you can keep up with the scores. So we love it. We love this. And oh, okay. So swung over. I see there's a few things. So how will this affect upcoming Liberty play, if at all? I did it again. Well, so now, Brian, the players, and I'm going to pull up the article because this is just going to be easier. But my understanding is that some of the players, I think the earliest a player would arrive is the 29th, but there are some players that are arriving as late as the 31st, as in the 8 players that are going with the French national team. But that will impact it. It won't have much impact, if any, depending on the team and depending on the schedule, because we know that there is a FIBA break coming up, Brian.
Yep. Saturday, I believe, is the last game for this. It's going to be the last game. It's going to be the last bit of league business for the rest of the month. Saturday afternoon, the Liberty play a 1 p.m. game. I believe JoJo and Pauline are due on the 30th or 31st. So they might be in market for that game, or they might just get a little bit of a head start. We'll see. So it's after Saturday, everyone who is due to travel and be a part of.
There are some Sunday games. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The wrap afternoon. So Joe and Pauline would be heading out if by then at the latest, if they haven't already. So the Liberty should be able to have their full roster. I guess the big question is, I wonder if the national federations and national teams are going to be like, hey, can you do us a solid today and ease off the throttle a little bit? And then that turns into the ultimate, hey, I've got business to handle here. Your business isn't my business necessarily, but we are a basketball family, so my business is your business in a manner of speaking. So let's try to come together and work out an amicable solution.
Sorry, I was looking still for this on the French website. But anyway, yeah, I think that Brian's analysis, and this is why I wrote that story for Black Rosie Media, with regard to the French national team, and like, okay, but like, what's really going on? Because that will impact obviously what happens. And, you know, some players are coming off of injury and looking to have an impact at the FIBA World Cup. And so that's a different situation, maybe, or, you know, all of this is individual by individual. But if you're a player that's been injured, maybe you want to play in some of these WNBA games, right? Because you want to just get extra repetitions and extra game experience before even meeting up with your federation. But if you're someone that is maybe newly injured or it's a nagging injury, I could definitely see teams shutting things down. And I think it goes back to, and I remember in 2024, I was asking around about this a lot more. I didn't do it or at all really this season, but also what are the conversations that general managers are then having with players that are very likely, or at least in the running, to be at a FIBA international competition? And I think that goes for the U.S. players as well. I think those are some of the conversations that is happening with GM and agent when they sign, like how much of that touch, you know, is happening. Every quote that I got in 2024, including Jonathan Kolb, you know, thinking about even what Dallas was saying about, at the time, Satu Sabali, you know, they want to support their players. And we know it's a completely different conversation in other sports, especially on the men's side of those sports, where the norm is almost for those leagues to write it in to the CBA that those athletes not, or that they can be penalized if they're hurt other places. And you see some of that in the WNBA with off-season leagues and stuff like that, or there's, I think, starting to try and move that in that direction a little bit more. But in the WNBA, from a GM to a player perspective, I think there are conversations ongoing with, like, what are the goals here? What is it that we're looking for? How can we be supportive of you? And I think those are important conversations to have. And I think those conversations, in just, let's take Gabby Williams as an example, the conversations that she was having early in her career once she was on her way out of a rookie contract. Because you get some, when you're newer in the league, because you probably, you know, at least it's in the ecosystem that you would have to go abroad for good opportunities to play year round. That's also changing, but that's still a part of the culture. And, you know, she would have had more leeway in her while still on her rookie contract. But once you get into that, like, baby vet areas, I like to sometimes call it, Brian, then we know that a player like Gabby Williams, who is not a superstar at the time, right, and is very good at what she does, and for people who are watching the games, they respect what she does, and, you know, she's someone who is playing a role player for a specific team. It was better for her career and her goals, and even monetarily, for her to actually play elsewhere and not be in the WNBA so that she was still making money overseas and abroad, but she also didn't have to feel like there was this this butting of heads or this friction between what she wanted to do with her national team, the French team, and what was expected of her from a pro team, because those European teams, they already have those kinds of things baked in, and there's a respect, I think, that doesn't necessarily exist or hasn't in the past existed on the WNBA side.
Yeah, and Gabby's point in particular, Gabby's story is particularly unique because for folks who remember, back in 2021, the Chicago Sky told her, "Hey, get lost. Since you're not going to be here, get gone." And that was an Olympic year due to the pandemic postponing the Tokyo Olympics. So Gabby was like, "Hey, I can play and do my national team and still play for the team." And they was like, "Get out of here." And then they suspended her for the season, and then they shipped her to the Sparks. So Gabby was penalized for trying to accommodate and make room for the league and national team duties, versus now when she came back in 2024, she played in 22 and 23, came back for the back half of the season with the Storm in 24, and was there in 25. So Gabby's story is really unique because it shows the push and pull that players have had to fight to get when it comes to having the league, the WNBA in particular, accommodate their national team obligations. And even for, as I remember it in the CBA with the prioritization rule, national team duty doesn't get you penalized in the ways that playing for a club team would, as an example. So players fought to get that accessibility and that availability, because if you let management have their way, they will ding you and screw you over as much as they can. So it's why you got to fight them at every turn.
Yeah, indeed. So anyway, just always something I find so interesting is how all of that went down. Gonna zoom in here as much as I can, but more so we'll read this too, especially for our audio listeners. Hey, audio listeners, thanks for hanging. All right. This is translated, remember, but I highlighted, it's coming on in gray on the screen. Pauline Astier and Marine Johannes will arrive in Berlin on Sunday, August 30th. And as Brian and I just mentioned, the Liberty plays Saturday, but there are games on Sunday. Dominique Malunga, for example, will be the last to arrive in Germany on Monday, August 31st, because there are a slate of games on Sunday, which includes the Valkyries, the Fire, the Sun, the Wings, the Sparks, and the Storm, as well as the Lynx and the Dreams. So that's why Malunga would be the last two. So as far as what this means, what this means, bring us back. Here we go. What this means for, for these teams, I think it's what Brian said. According to that, and I just wanted to double check, according to that, at least for the New York Liberty and the Seattle Storm, none of those players are leaving before the last game heading into the break for their respective team. So that's why Malunga is not leaving on the 30th. She's leaving after her game on the 30th. So they could be available, and it goes back to what Brian was breaking down. Are they going to be like, is a little bit of a conversation with the teams? And for like Dominique Malunga, I think it's good to stay with the team. And is there any value, unless she really wants to get reps? And even then, is there any value in having Dominique Malunga actually play in that game on the 30th?
That's the eternal question. I imagine for the federations, they're like, you know what I'd really like to see my players do a lot of on their last game before the break? Tunnel fits. I want you guys to pick out your best clothes. I want to see y'all strut. Do y'all Obafemi strut down the runway. Make yourselves look cool, but don't play basketball. Just look cool. Do that for 40 minutes and we're going to be happy.
Yeah, and then you have, so on that schedule, let's just talk about, and some of this, sorry, Roberta, we'll talk about it again. But like Seattle's playing the Sparks. Neither of those teams is going to the playoffs. I think it's okay to sit Dominic Malunga and maybe some other people. Also, apparently, Lynn Roberts was told by the front office that no, she's got to play some other people. I think her quote was something like, yeah, well, everyone's healthy and available, but, I've been instructed to play some other people. That was interesting, but this is not a podcast for Los Angeles Sparks fans, so we're going to move on. Minnesota, Atlanta, now that one's tough, Brian, because listen, everyone has already clinched, and seeding, I think that game means more to me for Atlanta than it probably will for Minnesota. So will that impact who, because like, a game like that, you don't play all of your people who are available and you lose that game and you need that game. Is that something that haunts you? Other side of it, worst case scenario, other side, everyone plays because these are freaking basketball players and that's what we do. And someone from some hypothetical person, I'm not putting this juju on anybody. I'm letting y'all know, I'm not putting no juju on anybody. Somebody gets hurt in that last game leading up to the FIBA break and is on a top 8 team, meaning that there's only one team, Dallas, right? And even that was yesterday. I was traveling all today. I think Dallas is the only team in the top 8. Is that still the case that hasn't clinched? Yes. And the only team that can even mathematically knock them out would be Portland.
Hey, Carla's out the door. She's number one too.
Listen, and who does Portland play again? Portland plays Atlanta. Dang, this is cold. Portland plays Atlanta on Friday. And Golden State on Sunday. That's crazy. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's mathematically still possible, and it would be wild if Dallas loses out.
If that happens, Kurt Miller, if you people brother,
ooh, that would be brutal. Oh, man. Okay, so all of that to say, we have no idea. There's so many hypotheticals. We don't know. And it's kind of exciting. I'm also I'm not even going to lie, I'm kind of scared. I'm a little scared. Well, just because I don't want anyone to get hurt. I would feel bad for them.
We live here. We live to get buckets. And defense.
Yes, please. That's what I live for. You know me. That's what I live for. I just don't want I don't want anyone to get hurt, but we'll see. I mean, how about Brianna Stewart getting some rest instead of participating in the FIFA game? Whoo, Damien, I still owe our subscribers my rant on this, and if you're active in the Slack channel, you might have picked up on some of this. But since we all fam in the club tonight, I'm gonna give y'all a taste. For so many reasons, I don't understand why, I almost said New York, why the USA roster is the way that it is. I don't understand. Matter of fact, one of the players that makes the most sense to me to make that roster is Caitlin Clark. I don't understand why this team needed to play or to activate Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson. That's just tough to me. And it's also tough because this is still a top tournament on the women's side. There's only one above it. I think everyone pretty much feels that way. Well, I guess maybe two, depending on how you feel about the WNBA. But I would say they're internationally, only one above it. I guess the W's international now, but I don't know. I just am like, oh, Give them rest. Let them rest.
Can I throw one curveball at you? So today, during a break from work, I got a chance to read a big feature story by Kendra Andrews at ESPN, and it centers on the FISA Collier. And Kendra was asking Fee, why did you think to why did you want to have the World Cup as a designated goal for yourself this year? And Fee was explaining that since she's coming back from injury, usually towards the end of the season, it's you have the little dip in performance before the postseason, and then it's like you're trying to ramp yourself back up a little bit. For Fee this year, it's so unique because since she had missed so much time and it was such a draining experience, like she really goes through just like the emotions and sadness she felt while she had those double injuries. Like she joked sarcastically, I'm a medical marvel because the doctors told her, I have never seen ankles get bugged up like this before. So you are a mystery, my friend. So Fee was making the point that now that she's back in play, she wants to use this opportunity to continue building that strength that she already has been growing, and to for the fun game we circled on Sunday, Minnesota, Atlanta. Minnesota's been steamrolling people all year, like they've been wrecking shop, and now you're getting Fee, who's not at the little lull of the end of the season. You're getting someone who's ramping up and really getting into their peak performance at this time of year. So once the World Cup ends, the WNBA playoffs are going to be a battle world, and it's going to be really hard. And if Minnesota is fully healthy and Fee is locked in and playing at that all WNBA MVP level, it's going to be chaos and trouble for people all around the globe.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier, I was like, I didn't use a particular name. Or actually, I think I did mention Fee. That's why I was like, yeah, for some players, it makes sense. For other players, you might want to shut it down. So for Fee, that makes complete sense. And this Mello saying they want to make sure they win. You need Stewie to do that. I agree on both of those. And wanting to win and needing to win, not the same. Not the same this year. You know why? Because the winner of the FIBA World Cup gets an automatic bid to the Olympics. You know what the USA already has, Brian?
Automatic.
Ding, 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 ding. That's correct. So they literally do not have to win. They literally do not have to win. And wouldn't it be like the coolest thing if we finally got to see on the international stage for a medal? If this whole theory that USA could place 3 teams and sweep the podium is true? That's petty me. That's petty me, and I think it's a valid question. And I personally would love to see it. But you know what is the more, and the both are real, but the less petty answer is, and it goes to why I think they likely did put the roster together the way they did. The less petty version of that is, this is a real opportunity with no consequences for the United States to give young people in the pipeline, and by young I mean as in, we call it caps, and actually USA Basketball, I'm pretty sure, does the same thing, I think. Ooh, now it's been a while. Now I'm confusing myself. Anyway, you call it a cap, as that every game for US soccer is a cap. So your first ever game with the national team is your first cap. 500, whatever, it goes on. Anyway, I want to see players that have no caps or very few caps on the women's senior team competing in FIBA World Cup. Because this might be the only chance they get, only real chance to get in an international environment where they can make a case for themselves to be on a World Cup or Olympic team. There's such a bottleneck right now of talent, and this is an absolute perfect tournament to be able to to really test some of the young players. And if I think about it from a different perspective, it's hard to make these teams. It's really hard. Not for everyone, or it feels that way because we see the same names over and over again. And it's still really, really hard.
Yeah.
And if you get an opportunity, you should take it. And if you get another opportunity after your first one, who knows, if you're going to be able to compete, whether it's injury or otherwise, at another Olympics, at another World Cup. So I think there is that piece of it. But man, it would be really cool to see some of the young talent, because even getting to camp is tough for some of these players.
Yeah. And I remember it was in February when you see about held in New York one weekend. You see so much great talent and so many great players who, on the outside looking in, looks like they have no shot of making the roster, but they're in there playing really hard. The games are intense. The coaching staffs and everyone is really evaluating and really doing a lot of studying to really highlight where their games can grow, where improvements can be made. And in the 24 cycle, one thing I really appreciated was that Jennifer Rosati and Cheryl Reeve will talk a lot about the gains that Sabrina Ionescu would make from when they first got her on USA Basketball in 22 at the World Cup in Australia. She didn't really play much then, but Cheryl and Jen were saying that Sab consistently stayed involved, stayed dedicated, stayed doing the things she needed to do. And then in 24, she became a regular contributor. And then in the gold medal game, it's, oh, hey, we need someone to jumpstart our offense. Sabrina, come in and do stuff. And then Sabrina helped lead that run to finally get USA the lead against France in the gold medal game. So it helps to really get younger players in the pipeline early. And I think for USA basketball, the young pipeline is so vast. Like, we know the headliners, Beckers, Reese, Clark, whatever, like they're the headliners, but underneath them, it's possibly in 28, a Sarah Strong, health permitting, Hannah Hidalgo, Olivia Miles, Sonia Citron, Kiki Irifen, someone but could find Kira Austin. Been awesome. That's a young big that's like, oh damn, she's in the USA basketball pipeline too, and has been on a World Cup team before. So that's another player. Kiki Irifen. So much great talent. Cam Brink was on the 3x3 team. If her game if she is in a better state as a player in 28, maybe she can make a run and getting on the 5x5 team. There's so much talent, and even the players that we think are like the tier below the big dogs, that's still a hell of a basketball player waiting for you.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I would have loved to see Sonia and Kiki and Kira. Like, those three for sure stand out to me. I know that Sabrina is kind of in that middle of the pack for all of the reasons that you said, and was critical. Talk about shoot your shot, take your moment. Like, she was facilitating, and her and Ka were phenomenal down the stretch in that gold medal game. And, it was just really cool to see. Ka was just on one, and Sabrina looked so focused and comfortable. I don't want to necessarily say comfortable. She looked locked in. She looked confident to have those minutes and to facilitate the players on the court at the time.
Yeah, man. And I think especially for Sabrina, at that point, she had been through some playoff wars. The playoff run against the Sky in 22, the battle that was the series against the Mystics in 23, the war that was the Sun series in the semifinals, and the Aces in the final. So she'd been through some real playoff battles at that point. So it really hardened her and made her a stronger player, because playing against elite competition in high stakes basketball, it sharpens your game and also serves as a red light to sort of be like, oh, okay, this is where I need to get better at. this is where my training should focus on. This is where being in this team context now allows me to tap into a different skill that I may not have in the WNBA USA context, just in league play. So being able to get in there early and really be able to manifest and get yourself where you need to go, I think was really beneficial for her. So even in 28, she's a contender to make the team. A lot of really awesome talent. Hey, in 2 years, you'll probably, I imagine Carol would want a vet guard to sort of keep things steady. Hey, Chelsea Gray, you're still playing well? Pull up. LA is not that far from where you probably stay at these days. You do broadcast work for Sacramento, so you know the state quite well. Come on down, grab your Adidas and make some mid-range jumpers for me.
I mean, who says no? I had to take myself off screen a few times so I could find my charger, which I did.
Ooh, did he?
But I also found a cookie. So
very nice. Erica, Z got something for you.
I know, I put it up there saying, Z Diddy saying, I think France would beat a USA C team, not our A or B team.
Now
go for
it. Z Diddy, let me know what your USA C team is, because I think that's critically important. Like, considering the pipeline that USA basketball, what would you consider to be the C team? And Erica, I'll throw it to you too. What does a C team look like?
Well, let's just, for this exercise, assume that the Olympic roster is what we know as the World Cup roster.
Yeah.
Just for this exercise, let's assume. So that's the A team. The 12 people. I actually put it up on the screen. If that's the A team, on my B team for sure, I'm taking Sabrina. I'm taking Shakira. I'm taking Sonia. Hold on. Because we're going to do this. Now, we're definitely going off book. I'm just glad I found my charger because it would have been Brian by himself.
Got my notebook.
It would have been Brian by himself for a little bit because I was like, no, I got to go. And then I found the charger and that cookie, just when I needed. Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to put on the screen from our tracker the, I almost said the D team because they're in Group D. I was like, no, that is not the D team. That's the real team. Okay, just so we have it. So I can remember. Because I was like, I feel like I know what I wanted to see, but who's on the team? So A team is Asia Wilson, Aaliyah Boston, Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Nafisa Collier, Chelsea Gray, Ryan Howard, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, Brianna Stewart, Jackie Young. So I'm taking... Okay, so I already said I'm taking Sabrina Ionescu.
Yep.
I'm taking...
Is that Area Finn?
I said Kiki? Yep, Kiki Sonia. So I'm taking Kiki Sonia. I'm taking... Ooh.
I think you said Austin too.
Who did I say?
Shakira.
Kira Austin, yep. I'm taking Alicia Gray.
Okay.
I'm taking... How many I got, Brian?
5.
I've got 5?
Yep.
Okay. So I get 8 more for 12?
7 more.
7 more. See? Told you I wasn't good at math. All right, 7 more. 8 seems like a lot. I was like, 7 seems like, or 8 seems like a lot. Okay. Do I have a center yet? Kira, probably.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Also, I got a point guard. I got a couple. Right? Well, depending.
Yep. Yeah.
I need some wings, right?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh. Dang. See, now I got to think about position as well. I would take... Oh, Alyssa Thomas is making this team. I'm taking everyone who's available. So anyone who I consider available. I'm not saying they would actually play, but See, listen, NECA, I've been ranting about this. NECA is interesting because NECA has never made an Olympic team. I would absolutely pick NECA, and there was something about I don't think she would be eligible. So let's say I'm gonna take that part of my brain out of the equation. I'm taking NECA for sure.
Okay.
I don't. I'm sorry to say, fam, I don't think at this rate she would be eligible to play for the United States any longer because she has petitioned to play for Nigeria, was actually denied. Oh, but I'm just gonna say, well, she's countryless, so why not come to the United States, or come back? Like, you are here, you are one of us. Just to be clear, I was like, don't clip that and make it something it's not. People, we're talking. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Urgh. Anyway, I would take NECA for sure. So what am I at? 5 or 4?
3, 4, 5, 6 guaranteed. One possible. So 7.
Okay. So 7. Okay.
Yep.
I'm taking. Ooh. I'm taking. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be crazy guard heavy because I don't know why I'm blanking on post players right now. Who is that camp? We already said Kira. We said Kiki. I'm taking, I think I got to save her for the C squad maybe just because of her position. I'm going to say Lauren Betts, but she might be, she might be in between B and C, which is not a bad thing. But I'm just looking at like her position, and I don't know if you're taking Lauren Betts.
All right.
Dang, why am I blanking on wing players right now? Because Ka's already on the team, so... Did I say AT? Yes. I did, right?
Yes.
I just said that. You know who else I didn't realize apparently is ineligible because I would definitely take her? Dwana Bonner.
Really?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Olivia Miles. Thank you. Yes. De'Erica Hamby. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yep. Y'all got it. Definitely had to survey the scene. I was like, that's still... De'Erica is better, but I'm not loving that I'm not thinking of like a true wing here. So what do I have? Like 3 left? How many? 2, 3? Something like that?
6, 7, 8, 9. I'll say 3 more.
3? Okay, give me Juju.
Got it. Watching.
Give me, gosh. Who's the guard from Vanderbilt? What's her last name?
Blake's, right?
Blake's, yep. Yes.
Got it.
Michaela Blake's. I'm assuming.
6,
Let me see.
7,
Has Blake's? Because Blake's was at the last camp, you know?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, Blake's.
All right. One more.
I might need to grab somebody else from camp, and I'm probably forgetting someone. Ooh. I feel like I still need another wing. I need a wing. UCLA in Chicago. Hawkes. I couldn't remember her last name for some reason just now, but Gabriella.
All right.
That's a win. Oh my gosh. Yep, Bree Jones. Yep. That's on me, y'all. Oh, there we go. I said Gray. I didn't say Kayla McBride. Dang.
So when we don't have our B's, we can hit our B's.
Dang, I didn't. That's on me. I didn't say Kelsey Mitchell either. That was tough. That was all off the dome, and I don't have any paper or anything, so I was making it up from memory. Bree Jones, I would absolutely. So now we can start filling, and these teams would have to be re-racked for sure, Add Bree Jones for sure. Kelsey Mitchell, absolutely. That was on me, Mang. I almost forgot about Miles too. I did pretty much. Oh gosh, yes, Marina Mabry, Kayla McBride. I said Thomas.
Thomas is on the team.
Yep, we said Hamby. Wait, say again.
So Thomas is on B. So Mabry's going on C.
Okay.
Right.
For now, like I said, once we have the list, we'll have to do this again because this is fun. But I'm also like, oh, I need to, just for balance, I need to redo these teams. Sydney Taylor, yeah, right?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I would take Sydney Taylor to camp for sure. At minimum. BG, okay. So, do we? You know what? We did say everyone that was available, and I think technically Grindr has not announced anything that I can recall, Brian. And I just don't know that I don't know if 28 is in the cards.
I don't think so. I felt like was similar for a national basketball song for PG.
Yeah, I agree. It just I agree. So
all right, there's one player. I will throw you a brief one. A young player that I mentioned earlier that might be a good fit here for the C team.
I'm trying to think because all of the things I'm thinking of are from the French team because I know we talked about the French team.
Yeah.
A young player who you said would be good for New York today.
A player that in the USA pipeline that could, if they continue to grow, could if everything goes well, be a candidate for 28 if their game continues to improve.
I don't know. Who did you say?
Cam Brink.
Oh man, gosh, this is painful. I forgot Cam Brink too.
All right, so we
did talk. We both said something about Cam. That's right. Oh man,
so we got 5. We've got 5 locked in on C team so far.
That's right. Cam Brink. We did talk about Cam Brink.
All right, now who else is up?
Who are you adding? Help me out with the last few.
I'm gonna need I've been trying to think of wings for the past 10 minutes because all the good ones are on the main club right now. So I'm racking my brain to think of wings that could be available, and that one I'm trying to blank on. I guess now this is where we call some of the college kids, because let's say 28, theoretically Hidalgo would be a professional by that point. So that's someone that's there. So we'll add Hidalgo to the C team. I'm guessing Sarah Strong will be a professional by that point, or at least be healthy enough from the Achilles injury currently, and then being fully ingratiated in the USA basketball pipeline. So 28, I'll put her into, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, we can absolutely pull from that group. I took Juju, I think. So Juju, Hidalgo, Strong for sure. Love that.
Did we throw Booker in Texas?
Yeah.
So we got another one.
I'm trying to see. For whatever reason, I can't find where they announced the training camp roster when they did a camp. That was, remember Sue's first camp. We probably have it on. In the newsletter. because I went to USA Basketball. Because Blake was there for sure. Can't believe I forgot McBuckets. Dang, Erica. Good grief. Just like the rest of them.
Next team by 5.
Man, listen. Ooh, this is good. Kayla Thornton. Oh, yes. Oh. And I just interviewed Joyce. We should have the interview up for CBS Sports soon. Yes, Joyce Edwards. Ooh, Malaysia Fu Wiley. I could see it. Have to figure out which squad. But I feel like we're almost there. We might have more than we need.
All right. I think Wiley makes in.
So we still have...
we said. I think I'm 25 training camp. All right. Let's see. I will float some. Here's a name I hadn't thought about. Veronica Burton. What do you think? All right. 11. So that makes we are.
Man, I can't believe I didn't. Man, this is great. I don't love how I'm performing live right now, and I love this exercise.
All right. We've got one more. So can I throw you a light? This player is currently injured.
Currently injured, but what?
But was in USA camp and not Juju Watkins.
So was injured at camp and not Juju.
No, was injured currently, but was at camp.
Oh, Fudd.
I was thinking somebody else. I forgot about her too.
Fudd was at camp, I think.
I think she was. Because I think it was during holiday break for the kids, so I think she might have been.
Well, also, and just where we're, with injuries. But Fudd, okay, so is injured now, but was at camp. We already mentioned. Well, Beckers is on the team, so not Juju. Who else was injured at?
It's injured right now.
Injured right now. Edwards?
We had Edwards on the board. I was thinking somebody else.
Oh my gosh! Who else is
Rakia Jackson?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Yes, of course. This was really bad blind.
But no. Not bad. We did this. We are at walking the tight road under and we have down helping through and all we're looking for is snakes. We did great.
We'll take the optimistic approach this time. We'll take it. It was not easy, and it was fun. Even though, it was still fun.
All right, and now the big question to tie it all together. Z Diddy said, France would beat our C and B team? Do we agree?
Well, as much fun as this was, I could have told you my answer 20 minutes ago. I could have told you my answer 20 minutes ago. Just putting it out there.
I will say, for USA Basketball, you centers, I hope y'all been working out. I hope y'all feeling jacked and strong because of 2028, friends. I hope you've been listening to Tempestashi Talk because it's going to be all about Dom Malonga in 2 years. It's gonna be hard living.
I mean, it might be, and I don't know. Awa coming for that title too.
Good boy. I was splash boy.
And Awa, did y'all see Awa Kuya the other night? Damn.
Being ready for blocks and Awa. Hey man, I might link to it in the newsletter maybe later, maybe sometime next week. But I was reading something earlier today from Michael Waterloo at Walking Bucket. He was making the point that a walk could be a free agent a lot of teams really make a big play for this winter, and the talent's there. Young, can grow. Hey, it's there, man. And the right team, if it's not Dallas, can make some cook up.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Don't tempt me with a good time. Anyway, like I said, I could have answered the question now 25 minutes ago, roughly, give or take. Yes. Because France almost beat the A squad.
That's true. Always remember. This is
almost beat the A squad. So good.
You know, that game was so funny because once Marina for 2 hit that rainbow 3-pointer, I was like, oh no, this is oh no, this is not like, you have to, if you've lived long enough, you know certain days when your team just don't got it, and it's a player who don't be really hitting it like that and really making it shake like that. When they're making plays on you, boy, trust me, I've been there too many times. It's not fun. It's, oh wait, what do you mean? They making shots? No. And one moment I'll never forget, and this relates to the pod. I remember in the 2023 finals, it was game 2. Keita Stokes hit like 2 corner threes. I'm like, oh, this is a wrap. It's over, dog. I was like, oh no. I'm like,
yes. Sometimes you just know, and you're like, oh hell no. Like, what you mean? You ain't never do nothing. Where you coming from?
What? The splash? What is this? No, that's not your game. Your game is rebounding and getting blocks and defense. Not no three.
Defensive rebounds, very specifically. That is defensive rebounds.
That is correct.
Ooh, girl, let's grab the ball. I don't know. Anyway, well, I feel like we accomplished a lot, Brian. I'm so glad that my hotspot, that I found a solution for the hotspot, and that we were able to charge the computer, because it was fun, as always, here at Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. I'm on the road here. I'm in Florida. We're going to do something fun for CBS Sports tomorrow. Alicia and I have our photo shoot for the podcast. Yeah. So when you see the photos, now you know where the inspiration, you see where the inspiration came from. But that's going to be fun. We're going to have new promos. I'm not on them right now, so this will be exciting. And should have some news about some schedule changes and some fun stuff over there. But we also have the newsletter. The newsletter, unfortunately, and this one is on me. We missed Friday. So there will be an extra newsletter this week, but we missed Friday. Unfortunately, the Tulsa area was having some issues. It's been really hot, like 20 some odd days of 100 plus. Oh God. Yeah, it's been really hot, and it impacted some of my connectivity. So that's on me. Apologies to everyone who is subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, this is a great week to do it, because we'll have some bonus stuff, especially as the rosters get finalized. So you're not going to want to miss that. But, Kuir in a starting 5 with Alana, Shepard, Arike, and Paige. Oof. Yes. Kuir looked great. That was a great starting 5. Awesome. And this is, listen, to state the obvious, wishing AZ Fudd the best on the recovery, having to go through another surgery, but is really taking the positive road. So going to keep that energy. Yeah. The thing that I wanted to say, though, is when it came to drafting AZ Fudd and then wanting to do what I strongly believe in is when you have a top 3 pick, you play that top 3 pick. It seems like that would be a really talented backcourt, but size-wise, it makes Dallas vulnerable in other places. And I wondered, do you not start one of them? I don't know that that's the answer. That seems odd because them in this case is Paige Beckers, AC Fudd, and Arike Ogunbowale. So like who are we sitting? That's a very uncomfortable game of start bench cut.
And
the
thing about
about
Dallas, that plan really didn't deliver the way that they expected. So it made the roster building and the roster so much more because Lan struggled early. Then Jose lost confidence in her. Then Lan gets hurt, and Jess Shep. I joke all the time. Top 10 Jess Shep, but top 10 Jess Shep don't get no blocks like that. So rim protection been a big flaw for this group all year. And it's, hey, Jess Shep. Oh, can you block that? No. How about a layup instead? That seems more friendly. That's great. And now Dallas is they in that 8 spot. Maybe they can go on a run, but seems like they might not. And then they've got a date with a Minnesota Lynx team that is ready to punish teams in the playoffs this year because they've had circumstances knock them in the butt the past 2 years. So they're gonna be dialed in. Target center is gonna be on tilt. Like you know that place. I've been in there. That building's hot. So it's gonna be hard for that group, man. And with no Fudd, perimeter defense a little bit weaker. It's, hey, Paige, can you create a lot more? Like, I'm going to need you to really hunt your shots in ways that you sometimes may not want to. And also, rookie head coach going up against Cheryl Reeve. I wouldn't want to do that. That sounds like a bad day at the office.
Welcome to the W.
It's, hey, basketball fun. How about you try to outscheme Cheryl Reeve?
Yeah, that's not gonna be fun. That's not gonna be fun. But I mean, you're in, so now you gotta deal with it. But yeah, Awakuir, I think really helps with some of that. Damien, we've been in the fourth quarter since like the 20-minute mark. We're always in the fourth quarter. We're always in the fourth quarter. That's why I love it here. AKA the fourth quarter for our audio listeners is when we have your questions, our answers. But also we read the comments pretty much all the way through. But if there's a question that maybe I didn't get to, Damien, that you want to remind me of, I'm looking to see if we have any outstanding questions. But I don't see any. Let me see. Scroll back down. But yeah, so I think Owak is going to be really interesting. I did have a question. Oh, okay. This is not Liberty related, but it's more of a league thing and something that I think is going to be interesting. Is Minnesota the first team to break the tie at 4, excuse me, and get a 5th?
It was looking like it. I was reading and I think she mentioned that the Lynx starting 5 has. Do you want to guess their offensive rating, Erica, of Collier, McBride, Howard, Miles, and Miles, McBride, Collier, Howard, and I want to say it was Coffee. Let me see if I can find it.
Coffee?
But generally current starting 5.
I mean, what's like a gaudy plus minus? It's anything really above, like, I would say 15.
Yeah, their offensive rating. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Okay, found it. The offensive rating for Collier, Williams, McBride, Miles, and Howard. That starting 5 lineup. Their offensive rating.
25 plus.
It's number like 100, 10, something like that.
Oh, I don't know why. Okay. I have no idea. 125.
Over.
45.
134.4 offensive efficiency. And for people who are wondering, the highest in the league history for a single season was Vegas in 2023 at like 113. So trying to stop that group, buddy, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. And they get you in so many ways. It's Olivia don't got it tonight. Oh, hey, Kayla McBride and her quick trigger, 3 on the board. Oh, slow down game. Oh, it's Mama Fee in the post making things work.
They're nasty. Thoughts on DB possibly joining the Liberty? Well, who's going? I mean, I know who I would pick, and I don't. What is the math also on that salary cap perspective, or would it count? Would it count against the salary? I think, okay, putting all of the actual things that would have to happen aside, do I think that this fits for basketball reasons? I'm not overly excited about it. And is what you would get specifically defense at the wing, is that one thing enough to try it? And why am I saying that? I have so many questions about the role that DeWanna wants to play, and on the other side, has the capability and capacity to play. What is the basement? What is the ceiling? And I have to think about that. I don't have an answer for that right now. But my concern is more, once we figure out what that is, if it's only going to be one thing, or is it going to be 5 things? Like, what is the focus from an X's and O's perspective that DeWanna Bonner can and is willing to give? Does that fit what the New York Liberty need? I can almost guarantee yes, even though I haven't nailed down, except for the perimeter defense, what else I think it would be. Because I think there's at least 2 or 3 other things. I just need to figure out which ones I think are I would go with. Then I think, okay, if I think that what she's willing and able to commit at this juncture is something that the New York Liberty need, then I have to look at the New York Liberty roster and say, based on what we've seen so far, do I have the confidence that a rotation that would be both beneficial to Bonner and the team would be deployed with enough time for it to make a difference? And that's really where my brain starts heating up, because y'all know that I don't have a lot of spare confidence for the coaching staff without DeWanna Bonner. And some of the reasons that I'm questioning even a legendary player like Bonner is at least in part because I don't know how it would fit into the roster of this team, but also the execution and use of the roster for this team, given what is and has been available.
Yeah, and also it's essentially, let's say, for example, the DB clears waivers Wednesday, signs insert place here is available the very next day, so Thursday. So you have a 5 or 6 game ramp up of on court actual basketball with the whole team here. So it's not a lot of time. And then you're knocking off 2 weeks because everyone's out the country. So all the big dogs are going to be in parts unknown, some Berlin, some just on vacation. So not much time to really sort of ramp up, and study time matters a lot, but actual practice time is going to be even more essential, and you wouldn't necessarily have that part of it. So it would be really challenging. And then especially when players come back from the FIBA break, it's going to be, oh, hey, you played a lot of minutes. We're going to ease you back in slowly. So you don't really get the time to play together with some of the with some of the major players who you in theory would be alongside for postseason basketball. So it would be it would be really challenging. And I think if that were to be the case, I think we would essentially just sort of officially just be like, Satsu's just not coming back this year. the team, they've been adamant that they expect her back. It might just be the optimist part of my brain and their brain coming together, but it's a hard ask. But if DB were to come, that would be a signal that she's not. I've seen people sort of like float online that the sort of like the favorite among the fans across the league is that Atlanta would be the place. And if Bree Jones is not back, because I know she's out indefinitely, and there's no timeline, at least as far as I've seen, as to when she might be returning. So in theory, that checks off every box. Playoff team can get minutes immediately, would be expected to have a big role in postseason basketball, and you have a lineup of players that in theory gives you more room. Because let's say, for example, we let's map out an Atlanta 5-player lineup of Reese, Bonner, Howard, Gray, Canada. That is a lot of, and Carl loves 3-point shooting, can play with a lot of space, possibly a lot more open opportunities than what may have been present in Phoenix this year, or even Phoenix during the runs to the finals last year. Could be that. And then if all else fails, you have a magnet on the inside who soaks up every rebound known to human history in Angel Reese. So you have opportunities galore on offense. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like. But if you're looking for a place where you're guaranteed to get a lot of minutes that you're looking for, and if everything breaks right, a chance at a championship, Atlanta might be the one. Vegas is usually, but they ain't got no money. Like they spent all theirs already, so that's out the board.
Yeah, she's not going to Indiana.
Once is enough. Thank you very much.
I don't see Minnesota taking that chance because of all of the things you said earlier about the squad. I think they're in a pretty good spot. If this had happened earlier in the year, maybe, definitely, in my opinion, if it had happened last year, and I don't know how much Shari was on the phone or making calls. Well, was it? No, did she join Phoenix last year?
Yes.
Okay, it was last year. Okay, so I don't know. But also, that was a team that had fee. So, and it was just a different team in a lot of different ways. Doesn't make sense in New York. My gut is still saying no. I think there's more questions that I have than certainties that it would go a certain way, and I don't think that is something that the Liberty should do or that Dewana should do. The Liberty still, for me at least, have a little of that aftertaste of that Emma Messiman deal that didn't work out.
Yeah, boy. I was like, man, they hooked up, and then it not hooked up.
It didn't ever get started. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, maybe.
So,
well, run it, please.
Fabian asking, I don't think it's a great fit. DB over Carrera is what makes the most sense. That's who I was thinking of. I mean, honestly, I wasn't even thinking of Satu, even though I do not think. It would be quite something if she. I'll just put it that way. It would be quite something if she comes back. What that thing is and whether I like it, I don't know yet. But it would be something. It would be something. So, I think Carrera for me would probably be the move. It seems the most logical. I think so. DB might have grittiness that Carrera doesn't have. Yeah, it doesn't. I think DB has the sandpaper that is desperately now that. See, I wasn't even thinking of the sandpaper factor. That would be amazing. I would love to see it for that because we talked about that. There's not people who are really gonna. It's not their game. That's DB's game. She's gonna roar and scream and pump fists and do all of that. So I would love to see that perspective. And I just don't like culturally. I don't know how the Liberty would take that. I would hope it would motivate them, and I don't know sometimes what motivates this squad. But anyway, we got to close out there because I do got to get ready for our photo shoot tomorrow. That's why I'm drinking all this water. make sure I'm ready to go. But thank you for joining us here. Apologies if there were any tech issues. I know there certainly were on my end. Hopefully they didn't disrupt the vibes too much, but we appreciate y'all coming on here. So yeah, next episode, Brian, right? We will have just wrapped this side of the FIBA break.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's off.
Hopefully we have the rosters by then. Goodness. Talk about last minute. Sue Bird was like, I made my decision, or I took as long as I could to make the decision. She said I took as much time and made the roster when it was time to make the roster. And I was like, well, a lot of other people are waiting a lot longer. So you had more time, Sue. You had more time. I wonder if the roster would have been different if she had waited. I don't know why it would be, but I just think that would be interesting since she emphasized that so much in her press conference. Leo hilariously said the Liberty were emotional, and I was thinking about, like, aside from JJ, who maybe she meant in the locker room, because and also there are different ways of being emotional. I like the outward expression of aggression in sports. Like, for me, that's like, oh yeah, like they're in it. But there are other ways to be emotional. So I don't know. Because Leo is hilarious. Leo be tossing shade. And Leo, like, in that FIBA thing video they got going on, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but there's this clip where I'm like, is she coming back? Like, what is going on? Like, Leo don't play no games, and I think lots of games have been played in New York this year. So, I don't know. It's going to be wild. But we're going to get out of here, y'all. Have a great night. Brian, any last words?
Yes. If I ran into a viewer of the show over the weekend. It was very nice. It was very heartwarming. So if you folks see me at Barclays Center, just in the neighborhood, say hi. Like, I'm always down to chat and say hello to people. Like, come in, say hey. I will, chances are, likely have a plate of food in my hand, whether it be my cookies and tea going up the elevator or just like food in the neighborhood. But stop by, say hi. I'm always down to chat.
Love it. All right, last one, Damien, and then we're getting out of here. If you were to take a chance on Bonner, which team would you want her to join? Well, they're going to the postseason. They've already clinched. So they're going to the postseason. I don't know. I think I could see them exiting in the first round. I could see them narrowly getting to a semi. But I don't think it goes much further than that. I think this is probably a first round dip. That's my guess. Oh, we did say we were going to do it, Brian. We still really don't know what the seedings are. Oh, we said this. I forgot. I forgot. We'll do it for next episode, and then we'll know for sure. But they're the 6th seed right now, Brian. So that means they would play who they're playing on Thursday.
Go to State.
Yeah. No, they would play. Oh shoot, you're right. Sorry. No, they're not. No, they're the 2. They're still the 2. They play Vegas. Okay, which is interesting because I did see in the comments that is a preferred opponent. Preferred opponent. We're gonna have to break that down because I hear you and I know too much to trust that.
Vegas ain't running. New York not running. Let's close the steel cage and let's get it on.
In the first round, that's nuts. That's nuts.
The danger room difficulties are at 10. There's no easy way out.
The first round is nuts. That's nuts. That might be their only hope, though, to get to the second round is to play Vegas in the first round. Because, like they would get up for that series. They would be locked in. They better be.
And I want you to know when I beat you that you were beaten by the better player. Generational. Who is the player of the 20s? Let's do it.
That would be nuts. That would be nuts.
We can write this right now. Let's, boy. I think they're tied in series this decade. Okay, 2020 Stewart, 2022 Wilson, 23 Stewart. Okay, so they're tied at 2 in the 2020s as far as playoff matchups. Who is the Titan that rules all? Only wait a.
Wow.
Well,
if
let's
Satu, if that's the matchup and Satu somehow comes back, ooh, we talking. Now we talking.
The glass shatters, and Satu's running in to raise hell and wreak havoc on opponents. Let's make it happen. Let's do it.
What? Dang. Okay, we're really for real. We're gonna talk about it on the next episode because now I'm like. My mind would be blown. That's what I would say. My mind would be blown. I'd be like, okay, y'all did something. I didn't know if y'all had it in you. I wanted to see it, but I didn't know if y'all had it in you. But that's how we rolling. Okay, my bad. I was not familiar with your game. I mean, what else can I say? I would be wrong.
These playoffs are going to be incredible. Like, whatever matchup we get is going to be fascinating from like every different angle and possibility. I am pumped for postseason basketball.
Sharice rather play the Aces and Golden State. I'm gonna tell you what. Either one of those would be nuts to me on so many different levels for different reasons, but just like, and hey, you know what? I'd love to see them prove me wrong under one of those circumstances because you know what that means? Then they prove me right because it would take grit and sandpaper to get through either one of those squads. So like I'm wrong, but am I? I don't know. I don't know, but we'll have to talk about it on the next episode of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. For Brian Florentin, I am Erica L. Ayala. We got an Ellie wave. Peace out, everybody.